Hey y'all, this is my portfolio on the meshes and shaders. So my original idea was to create like a wooden plank. So I'm gonna walk through the process that I took. So right here you see like several different versions, three of which are god awful and one where I got it working. So originally I was just trying to drag um a wooden plank texture directly into the albedo section, which gave me this like reddish bacon look. And then I tried to play with the color because it comes up red and gray. So I was trying to play with the color to offset that. And I was kind of driving myself crazy. You can also see over here where in this material I was like trying to compensate for the different colors by creating like a brown look, but it just didn't work. And then over here, I was a bit closer. I was able to, over here, I used, let me find this shader right here. So I was able to drag in the wooden plank and used it as a map, which is generally what you're supposed to do. And I was confused reading up in the Unity manual about things like bump maps and height maps, but through this project, I was able to kind of sort it out. And then in the final version, we have this material called wood material. And essentially, what this does is you need to use the texture that you want as the map in your material. And then I just changed the color to be a brown look. So then we finally have this, we have a final product that looks a lot more like wood, like what we're expecting. Um, and then throughout my scene, I made kind of like a demonstration to say like you want to make a deck of some sort. Um, so over here, I made myself a wooden deck with materials that I made, and then I took the same process in properly creating a lake. So I made a lake material, and I went through the same process that I did by applying it as a normal map and then adding in my color. Um, so something I want to talk about is using the shaders. So the standard shader is really good and it has a lot of different uses. It's pretty practical. So I used the specular setup because it changes the reflections so I could get um so that I don't get metal-like reflections. So in the Unity manual, they actually identify certain values to use for certain different types of, or sorry, certain values to use for certain physical textures. So for instance, for something like this, which is a specular setup, you use different values for albedo to cause here, you know what, the plank is actually a better example. So like for example, for the albedo, it identifies certain colors and like the specular RGB and the smoothness to create certain like glossiness or roughness of the surface. So for textures, this is usually stored in the alpha channel of your specular map. So this guy, or sorry, so if you were to use a specular map, it would be in the alpha channels of your specular map right here. Um, so that's how I kind of got those effects. And then, yeah, so smoothness is also important. I was learning about that as I did this project. So it's used within the lighting calculations, and you can see the effects of the tiny, like micro surface detail. So that represents the amount of light, and it, like, as it diffuses and bounces off the object. So obviously, less smooth surfaces reflects light over a wide range of angles. So like as the lights hit and bump in micro surfaces of the wood. And the reflections have less detail and they're kind of spread out across the surface in a more diffused way. Um, so this was my experience with trying to play with um, materials. Um, so it was pretty helpful because now I know how to follow like a linear workflow to get things looking the way that I did. Um, I didn't expect this project. This is my first project, I believe. It's my second project that I did when I first got when we first started playing with Unity. And it took longer than expected, but some of my later projects are more advanced. I think this is a helpful stepping stone.